Good evening. I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Washington, Babylon. Scandal-mageddon. The scandals that we know of grow, and new ones are added. Within these last hours, the arrest in Moscow by the FSB, that's the KGB renovated, of what is said to be an American CIA agent carrying 2 wigs, a dagger, a lot of cash, looking to recruit a Russian turncoat. He was perp-walked on Russian television. The photographs are all over London right now. It looks very bad. We'll talk about that later in the program because the relationship between Vladimir Putin, the KGB colonel, and the United States of America is critical for peace in the Middle East and for the upcoming peace conference. We turn back to the Washington part of Babylon. Larry Kudlow of Kudlow Reports at CNBC and Kudlow Radio across the weekend joins me. Larry, your show was spirited tonight, especially with regard to the IRS scandal. We have the AP scandal, the IRS scandal, the Benghazi scandal, and now this spies in Moscow scandal. But the IRS, Larry, is it your sense that that's the one that is most damaging to the Obama administration and to the Democrats? So, good evening to you, Larry.
Good evening, John. Yeah, I think it's going to be very damaging. One interesting sidelight on that, apart from all the guilt and the people lying left and right in the IRS, lying to Congress, but I just want to note that today Eric Holder, in this bizarre news conference he held, one of the things he said was that the Department of Justice was going to investigate the IRS and send the FBI in. In effect, that brings Holder right into the controversy of the IRS. I just want to note that because they could have done it differently. They could have appointed a special prosecutor or a special counsel and isolated it. But now the Justice Department is getting involved, and Holder himself is going to be involved. And, of course, Holder is one of Obama's closest confidants. Right? I can't pin anything on Obama right now. I'm just saying that Holder just brought the White House into this, so it is not simply a separate investigation. This is the Department of Justice.
All storms come together, and we're pleased to welcome the storm master of the Wall Street Journal Best of the Web, James Taranto, is here with me in studio. James, you writing about the IRS story on Friday using Mr. Nixon's name, and now writing again in Best of the Web about the IRS scandal, looking at the revelations we've had from, say, ProPublica, an organization, a nonprofit organization, the revelation over the weekend. So I ask generally, because Larry and I are very focused on the story, the reporting right now. Is this resonating in America with the Richard Nixon scandals of the Watergate era, or is that just history books and is all forgotten?
Well, there's certainly some resonance. Nixon was impeached was almost impeached, but he resigned in time to escape it. But one of the articles of impeachment against him was that he had used the IRS to harass his political foes. Now, it seems very clear that the IRS harassed Obama's political foes. They've admitted that they singled out groups with Tea Party and Patriot and so forth in their names. They dumped on ProPublica, which, by the way, is another nonprofit, a 501c3. They used ProPublica as a conduit to publicize confidential information about 501c4 nonprofits that were opposed to the president. So certainly there is this pattern. Now, is Obama behind this? We can't say that he ordered it, and probably he didn't. What we can say is that he set a certain tone. In 2009, 4 years ago tomorrow, he gave a speech at Arizona State University, a commencement speech, at which he made a joke about investigating, sicking the IRS on the administrators at ASU who did not give him an honorary degree. A joke, really funny, ha-ha, except, there actually is a history of presidents doing something like that. And then he's vilified various conservative organizations and conservative individuals by name. My colleague Kim Strassel did a very chilling piece last year on a man named Vandersloot from Idaho, who was identified by an Obama campaign website as a big donor to a pro-Romney organization. A few weeks later, he gets hit by 2 IRS audits, a Department of Labor audit, and then some months later by a 3rd IRS audit. Now, do we have proof that the IRS did this because Obama's campaign highlighted him? No, but it certainly looks bad.
And Larry, that's to your point tonight. I listened on your show that we don't have evidence to link any of this together, but it's passing strange that over over the last 2 years, officials at the IRS knew this was going on and yet didn't stop it, didn't reach in to recognize that it was wrong. That suggests that they had some sort of, what, you'd have to say, general nod from Washington to go ahead and do this?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know how far to take that. Here's what I know, that pieced together from press reports, particularly the Washington Post, but also the Wall Street Journal, the big shots in the IRS who have been testifying before Congress in response to this idea that the IRS was attacking these various Tea Party groups and other conservative groups. These big shots, I want to name some names here. Lois Lerner, who's in charge of the tax-exempt division, she knew that these attacks were going on 2 years ago, and she recently testified that she had just learned about it. This was last week. She just learned about it because she knew the Inspector General was going to put out a report. This guy Schulman, who was the Bush appointee, a memorandum May 2012, he telling him that the IRS was attacking these groups. He then lied to Congress in testimony in August 2012, a couple of months later. And the acting director, this Steve Miller, he also saw the same memo back in May of 2012, and he lied to Congress in various written formats and letters. So you've got the whole agency has gone rogue, and there's a whole list of memoranda written to sort of stop this. You can follow the trail. The Wall Street Journal's done a great job putting this together, and they continue to ignore it. They continue to ignore it, and they continue to lie about it. Now, that string has run out, but I'm just saying the IRS is in a heap of trouble right now. And let me just add one quick thing. Don't forget, bizarrely, it is the IRS in charge of our tax system, which is going to be in charge of Obamacare, the health care. So they're going to have all the income tax records, and they're going to have all the health records, and they're going to have all the tax and regulatory and other mandates for Obamacare. I think that is absolutely incredible in the light of what they have done to these groups.
But, Larry, you say the IRS has gone rogue, and in a sense that's true, in the sense that they were acting contrary to all of our constitutional principles. But in another way, they probably didn't think of themselves as going rogue, because not only were they getting these messages from the top of the administration, they were also getting messages like from the Department of Homeland Security that there was a great threat of right-wing extremism, from the New York Times editorial page, which 2 days after Gabrielle Giffords was shot managed to blame the Tea Party and conservative commentators for the shooting, even though we knew at that point that there was no political motivation. So there was this whole effort to drum up a moral panic about right-wing extremism, to portray the Tea Party as racist and so forth. So the guys at the IRS who were doing this sort of investigation probably thought that they were just doing their patriotic duty because there was this vicious campaign of slander, this campaign to stifle dissent. So it's not just the IRS that was going rogue. It was really a concerted attack on our basic freedoms by the administration and the mainstream media.
Gentlemen, I want to stay with this, but Larry, your thoughts right here, because I want to come back to the IRS. But this is not isolated, Larry. If it was, it would be a huge enough story, and you and I are doing the news every day. This is almost too much to do in a 1 hour or 4 hour program, which I have. There are too many scandals, Larry. Does that add up to what we now see, which is the American people turning their backs on Mr. Obama, him losing his advantage for the second-term agenda?
Well, I think that's absolutely the case. That includes this yes, the IRS scandal, and then the Benghazi scandal, and it also includes the AP scandal, the secret subpoenas for their phone call records and so forth and so on. I think the second-term agenda is in a heap of trouble. I think his whole second term is in a heap of trouble as a result of the breakout of these stories. But I just want to say one thing, in so far as what James is saying. The IRS, I mean, I've worked in the government. I know a lot about the IRS. The IRS is an independent agency. Very few political appointees. I think there are only 2 political appointees. Maybe there's a third. This is supposed to be completely set aside with clear missions and completely independent and completely non-political. That is the history of the IRS. What we are seeing now, and remember, by the way, in the Nixon days, the head of the IRS, who was a Nixon appointee, refused to do Nixon's bidding. He just refused to do it. So what I'm saying is, what's going on today is a different IRS than the one I knew, and a different IRS that's been around historically, where they are attacking these Tea Party groups without any question, and they are leaking, and we're probably going to find a lot more, as James said, with respect to ProPublica. There's going to be a lot more of that where that came from. I believe they leaked tax returns during the campaign.
Yes.
I believe they leaked Mitt Romney's tax returns. I think that's how that came out. I think way back they leaked David Koch's tax returns, and they've been doing this sort of thing. There must be some liberal group inside the IRS doing this. I don't know. But this is not typical. This is something brand new, and that's why I say they've gone rogue, and they must be investigated. And I don't think the FBI can do it alone.
We'll turn to ProPublica when we come back. James Taranto of the Wall Street Journal Best of the Web is here. Larry Kudlow, the host of Kudlow Reports and Kudlow on the Weekend. Too many scandals. We'll get to all of them. I'm John Batchelor.